Welcome back. Oh, it worked. How we doing? I'm a little bit early. It's good to see you guys, though. Happy Thursday. I'm not taking my head off today. The hair's just getting too crazy. All right? It's just... I know I need to get a haircut. I'll have more time for stuff like that. I don't know, when I'm dead. Or something. But we're leaving the hat on. You're gonna have to get over it. And I might have to wear it backwards because I can't like dad eye look at the camera while I'm staring at the stuff. How we doing? Yeah, I'm about 10 minutes early. I did a very scientific poll earlier since I finished up dinner earlier than I expected to. I was just sitting there playing, you know, messing around, playing tummy sticks in the chat. Oh, I can't say that. I might be able to say that, I don't know. I was just messing around in the chat. Everybody said you want to start a little bit early. How we doing? Hello from Poland. Where's everybody at? Get a haircut, Ryan. Shut up, man. I don't want to do that. Stream not sponsored by Bud Light Seltzers, but it could be. That tastes pretty good. You know, somebody made fun of me on the other stream for drinking those. And like, oh, it's not. I'm gonna have me a dark beer. What if you don't? What if it's hot outside and you don't want to have a dark beer? I don't have anything to prove with the beverage that I drink. It's a crisp soda, is what that tastes like. Good evening from The Hague. Weird. Welcome in. How are you, everybody? Working on your chainsaw. What's wrong with the chainsaw? I gotta fix my chainsaw. Can't get any bar oil to feed. I don't know what it is, but I gotta spray the bar down every time I go to use it. Y'all have a podcast? Nope, sure don't. I have this theory, right? That as a middle-aged man, you do one of three things. And currently I'm 2 for 3. You start a stream, gaming brand, if you will. You start a podcast, and you start smoking meat. I like smoked brisket a lot. Ribs are more my specialty. Brisket's hard, but it's delicious. So I will not go 3 for 3 and be another statistic. Ronnie, your thoughts on World War III incoming? Things are starting to get a little weird. You know, let's kill the music. You know, we're gonna spend the first part of this just kind of chatting. All right. You know, I know a lot of times we approach this as more of a structured, or I try to. It's really difficult for me to find a structure. We approach this as almost a structured show. But what I wanted to do live is this. I wanted to kind of just watch the chat here and respond to what I can. You know, I'm just a dude, right? I don't have all the answers. A lot of these are $20 questions on a $5 budget. But you know, it is important for us to take the veteran community aspect to this. You know, make that mean something. I don't like beer, but a beer needs to fit the temperature and the time. Yeah, I'm in a party mood. And this Bud Light Seltzer cocktail hour, it's been a long work day, okay? I'm getting closer to being full-time, and it appears as though on my way out, my company wants to just load as many projects on top of me as possible. So the days are just, I'm getting destroyed. Smoking what? Meat. Preferably tube meats, like cylindrical-shaped foods. I'll tell you what. Name for me a cylindrical shaped food that isn't delicious. I'll wait. Meat specifically. I'm not talking about vegetables, right? Because we all know nobody likes eggplant. I suck at ribs. See, ribs are, you know, you use 3-2-1 for those. 3-2-1 method, great ribs every time. That's all my Instagram used to be is meat pictures. Do you think Ukraine will win the war? How much longer do you think it'll last? I think winning is subjective to the definition, right? That's difficult to say. You know, I think it's difficult for anybody to say. We're going to talk a little bit later on here about, you know, probably why we haven't seen more of certain munitions, you know, speaking specifically in this instance to the HIMARS, but that's tough. Slim Jims are amazing. When I used to work private security, and when I was doing the desk portion of that, there was a little snack bar that had Velveeta shells and cheese. This was the second time I got fat. They had Velveeta shells and cheese. I used to take the cup of that, and I would cut up Slim Jims and put it in there, and then cook the Velveeta shells and cheese, so you get all that Slim Jimmy goodness in there with it. How long you been smoking meat? It's been a long road, but that was kind of the first adult hobby I took on. I have a Yoder YS640 nowadays. I don't have time to tend to firebox. I used to have Oklahoma Joe. I've had a couple offsets, but it's kind of a hobby the whole family enjoys at this point. The missus loves to cook a rack of ribs, which, hey man, I understand there's jobs, right? But the other day, not only did she put the belt back on the mower. What's up, buddy? Come here, big boy. Hi. Not only did she put the belt back on the mower, but she also knows how to do a mean rack of ribs. I'd like to believe that I taught her how to do them and she'll maintain it forever, but all I really told her is to Google the 3-2-1 method, and it's kind of foolproof. What do we got here? Was the public comments about Kherson counterattack a ruse to keep Russians moving troops out of the Eastern Front? No, I don't think so. And I think your question, you want, oh God, dude, come on. Come here. You too. Yeah, you want pets too? Hi, how are you? All right, your turn. And yeah, I don't think so, man. I think they're setting conditions for, whatever, as an eventuality, a full-blown counteroffensive. Get out of my food, bro. Whatever a full-blown counteroffensive is. That's the way I'd kind of look at that. Yoder 640 standard comp model. Yeah, with the big wheels on it. Baller. Shot caller. Doggo active. Yeah. We've got 2 dogs and 3 cats. Another one, yeah. They're horse-sized dogs. Howdy, Funkers. Love from Down Under. Welcome in. We're going to start talking about China here in a minute. Again, we're still early. I still got 4 minutes before work starts. All right. I clocked in a little bit early today. I haven't punched the time card though, so I guess I didn't clock in. Raise your hand if you have punched a time card. I said that to one of my kids one time, and they were like, "Why would you punch it?" Ooh. 3 months. Matt, thanks very much for the 3 months. How are you? Blue Diamond, thanks for the $1.99. Win, thanks for becoming a member. Mrs. T, thank you for becoming a member. I got rabbits and working on a dog. My kids just had to have. My wife had a rabbit. I've known my wife since we were in high school, and she had a rabbit, and I was holding it. Its name was Smokey. I was holding it one time, and the piece of shit bit me. It bit me, and she said it didn't bite you, but I dropped it. Right? If something bites you on the hand, I just dropped it, and it like broke its toenail or something. And I'll never forget her defending this rabbit that bit me, and all I can think about is how delicious this rabbit would be. 5 minutes earlier means right on time. Oh, don't give me that if you're not 10 minutes early or late thing. Oof. 5 minutes early is 10 minutes late. Oh, here we go. Hello from Edmond, Oklahoma. Yeah, if you're just joining us, let me know where you're chiming in from. We're just hanging out to start the stream tonight. My man. I have a pet what? He did not bite you. That's not my wife. Promise. I don't know who that crazy lady is. Ronnie, do you live on a farm or like a big yard with all those pets? We have some acreage. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a lot. It's in the single digits, but we've got some space. I grew up on farms though. I grew up feeding cows, baling hay, that kind of stuff. Sweden. Welcome in, Eric. We're going to talk about Sweden tonight too. Finland and Sweden, at least. What else? We got Belgium. Hello, Patriots. Hello. Hello from Wakanda. Who's going to play Black Panther? And how are they going to handle that? Is it going to be his sister? I don't know. Yeah, we're in hangout mode, guys. We'll get to China in a minute. We'll get there. I promise. We're going to talk about it. I got a whole list of shit to talk about. I just did not feel like jumping in today. It's been a long day, man. Nova Scotia, welcome. Evening from England. It's dope, man. We are everywhere. We are everywhere. Zen! Welcome to the Funkers. How are you? Guys, let's kind of go ahead and get started with a couple things I want to talk about. We announced this on Tuesday. So, as the official announcement, very soon our app, which you can get on both iOS and on Google Play, is going to have an ad-free version. We're really proud of our advertising partners. These are really awesome companies and organizations that are really doing a lot for, civilization, for civilians, especially in, a great example is AR-500 making armor available to people, helping you understand armor. ATN making thermal and night vision a little bit more affordable. You can only make that so affordable. It's a pretty amazing capability that they're bringing to the table. By the way, starting on the 8th, they're having like this huge sale where stuff's going to be like $700 off. I've actually got a need for the other rifle for another digital scope. Anyway, we're really proud of our advertising partners, but we recognize that there are folks out there that kind of want to just get straight to the footage, straight to the video. So we are working on and finalizing an ad-free version of the site. So those of you that have become members over here, please consider moving, once that's available, your membership over to the Funker 530 app. It will be direct to us. There is no Google to take a cut off the top of that. Greetings from Canada. Welcome in. I remember watching videos during my deployment in Iraq. Thinking to myself, yep. We're actually going to see a video of the Taliban later today, or on this stream, destroying a supposed Islamic State in the Khorasan province safe house 2 blocks away from where I was in Afghanistan. It's going to be nuts. Is that a real wall decorated by plywood? Looks good, just saying. It's totally real plastic. But the missus did most of it. I got real frustrated with it because the glue that I bought as I was trying to stick it up there wasn't working. Not going to lie to you. I missed a bunch, so I can't watch it live now. I'm at work. Had to wait. You're grounded. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me. Let's talk about China. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it here. If you wouldn't mind tapping on the like button for us, I appreciate it. Please and thank you. So China, there's been a lot of conversation over the last couple days about Nancy Pelosi's visit. She has now left Taiwan, but the conversation now has shifted from Pelosi's visit to Taiwan to Chinese exercises. So from August 4th to August 7th, China will be conducting exercises dangerously close to Taiwan, and in some instances, as we have already seen, over top of Taiwan directly. So what I want to show you guys is an image here of where exactly those are supposedly going to take place and have already started taking place. That's the wrong thing there. I don't know what's going on. Here's what we're going to do. This is going to be real weird for a second, but I got to fix this. For some reason, every time I update my graphics driver, I have to deal with this, and I always forget to fix it. So we're going to go full screen. I'm going to swap some stuff, and it'll all make sense in a second. Look at that. We nailed it, and you hung in there. Hung in there, and we're all fine. So here are the locations of where China is going to be conducting military drills from, again, the 4th through the 7th. I'm going to give you full screen on this one, low left. Let's do that. So, a couple of pieces of importance to this. Obviously note that the red areas where those live fire drill regions are literally surround the island of Taiwan, right? They are well past the median line of the Taiwan Strait between China on the upper left and Taiwan on the lower right, if you can't read. And in some instances, some of these exercise locations actually fall into Japan's economic exclusive zone. Now, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to bring up another photo here in a little bit. But there's a lot of footage to go through on this. Now, the exercises have included things like missile launches, anti-aircraft stuff. They have launched salvo after salvo of missiles into these areas so far. I love this photo because it draws kind of a correlation between the way exercises used to look versus the way they are now in the progression of how they conduct those exercises. Now, you have to look at that on the flip side. There's dog hair on my finger. You have to look at that on the flip side of a coin. We haven't sent a politician or member of the government as high ranking as, and I say we sent, right? It's really Nancy Pelosi's decision, but that hasn't happened in 25 years, right? So the correlation that they're drawing here also has to be taken, on the flip side, right? That there is, technically speaking, and not to say that Nancy's decision was an escalation, but putting her on the ground there was a statement one way or another. Or her making that decision, she knows that was a statement. So China is making a similar statement, but using live fire in this instance, you can't really compare those two things. Now, let me show you a photo here of the trajectory of some of these missiles. That's where things start to get real weird. Coming up for you guys now. Not that one. I do want that photo up because I've got another talking point to cover on that one. Take a look at the trajectory of some of this stuff. Now, just to orient you, since there's no labels, this is Taiwan here. Let's go full screen. This is Taiwan here. This is China's mainland. You've got economic exclusion or exclusivity zones highlighted here. So this light blue, that would be China. Green here is Taiwan. Blue over here is Japan. Some of these missile salvos have not only crossed over Taiwan, but landed in technically waters that would be considered under control of Japan. And Japan issued a statement about this, basically decrying it. But you can see, just like the title, there are missiles flying over the top of Taiwan during these exercises. Now, from a research perspective, most of my intel background comes from counterterror, counterinsurgency, right? So I haven't been as tied in on China-Taiwanese relations, U.S.-Taiwanese relations. But in my limited amount of research, I don't know when missiles were literally fired over the coast of Japan, over the coast of Taiwan. Right over the island, right? Yep. Joe, thank you for the 20, man. And Zen, thank you for becoming a member. Now, again, this is just this specific area here is where things start to get really interesting. When it went, we've got a missile track here right over the top of Taiwan, landing inside, again, of Tokyo's or Japan's exclusive economic zone. Right? This chain of islands essentially connects to Tokyo towards the upper right of the screen there. Let's take a look at some footage of this. We are a footage site. Let's take a look at some footage from these exercises. Coming up for you guys. Wrong button. Well, they better hope a missile doesn't fail. Good luck explaining that. I'm sorry it broke on its way there. How quickly do I think that would... fast, you know?
8月4号下午，中国人民解放军东部战区。
Yeah, hi, can we not, like, yell at my ears, please? Why isn't that working?
火箭军部队对台岛东部外海预定海域实施多区域多型号航导火力突击，导弹全部精准命中目标，检验了精确打击和区域拒止能力。整个实弹发射。
So this is a Chinese media release, essentially showing the track of you know, those missiles. Now this basically was implying. What's up? Oh, whatever. I'm not worried about it. This basically was implying that, you know, this salvo went all the way across. It didn't.
8月4号下午，中国人民解放军东部战区。
Got some more footage coming up here. It's mostly been missiles, you know, early on, as you know, when Pelosi's plane was landing, there was, you know, anti-aircraft fire. That was fired in the general direction. It wasn't fired at her plane. But of course, you know, every troll on Twitter, they're firing anti-aircraft weaponry at Pelosi in the sky. It's not really what they were doing. Check this one out. It's pretty wild. Now these are on the Chinese mainland being fired towards Taiwan. One more coming up here. Just a really clear missile launch video from the Chinese mainland. This is actually the one, I believe, yeah, that I took the thumbnail tonight from. There we go. Full screen. Thank you. Check this out. Now, something that I also found that was interesting while doing a little bit of research. Oh, and by the way, 5 of those missiles landed in Japan's economic exclusive zone. Was that presently 20% of America's B-2 bombers are currently just sitting in Australia. They made their way into Australia in July, and they've been conducting drills and maneuvers with. Wow, that sounds very, very media-y. Maneuvers. Anyway, here's a photo. Check these out. Far left here. This represents 20% of America's B-2 bomber force. I found that to be interesting, right? The pre-posturing ahead of that. But I wanted to update everybody on, you know, for those that haven't had a chance to sit down and watch the news today, or you haven't had a chance to catch up on you know, what's going on related to China and Taiwan. That's the best update that I was able to put together today. I moved them to Guam. Well, you don't want to put that capability too close. It's always going to be a balance with you know, something that you can justify as military training versus you know, an escalation. Should we even worry about Chinese threats? To be honest, Draconian, thanks for the 6 months. Yeah, I mean, you need to worry about. You should worry about threats from anyone. Regardless of what their position of power is, or what they say, you have to consume and digest all of those threats. You just can't operate without doing that. especially in the instance like we saw with Russia's invasion, right? You have to consume and digest that threat, and essentially plan for the worst. Now, I was talking about a video that I watched on YouTube. I really love watching independently made videos that are researched independently. And I don't remember the channel name, but it was describing why, China, Taiwan, and Russia, Ukraine are different. And I talked about this one a little bit on Tuesday. And one of the things that was mentioned is kind of a breakdown of the type of rhetoric that China is using. And while it is some pretty strong stuff, it follows a similar pattern. One of the things that the video posits is that essentially Taiwan can be used as almost a rallying cry for political support. It's kind of like an easy button. It's almost like the way, what the West uses with terrorism. Terrorism is always going to be there. It's always something that, generally speaking, you can rally people around. We just dropped Hellfire ninja blades on, Ayman al-Zawahiri, so everybody rallied around that. Congratulations, yeehaw. One of the things the video posits is that Taiwan can essentially be that same purpose for China. And that was profound to me because I can understand where they're coming from. For the last 70 years, every administration has kind of used that to tug on the heartstrings of the Chinese populace. So that's always something to keep in the back of your mind as well. Is, while yes, we need to take the threats of a nation like China seriously, and there's one senator that we're going to talk about in a little bit that believes we're not doing enough to take those threats seriously. We also need to balance that with the fact that China has been making similar threats now for a lot of years. Checking in on the chat here. Mr. Anderson, thank you very much for becoming a member. Welcome. Ghost of Kiev was a fake. Did you just find that out, or? Did you just learn that? Get out of here. Taiwan controls one of the most important sea lanes on the strait. We talked about that Tuesday. Extremely important from a trade perspective. Taiwan Strait is. Did they make you wear red high heels during your training? No, I chose to wear those myself, purposefully. I watched a video. There was a TikTok going around of the new China rifle, which for some reason I'm just drawing a blank on right now. But it was of course done to project power. You can kind of tell what kind of narrative they're looking for out of that video. It was released by somebody in Chinese media. And what was funny is they showed a close up of the target, and I got to go back and find that video so we can post it. But they showed a close up of the target, and you could tell that the round was tumbling because the hole it was making was long and thin. So there's a problem with the rifle. I just thought it was hilarious. Okay, let's jump into the next one. Something that we've talked about here recently is Finland and Sweden's application into NATO. So that has progressed even further. The last time we talked about this, there were 19 countries that had essentially ratified or approved that. As we walk closer and closer to 30, the United States just became the 23rd. The U.S. Senate voted 95-1 to allow or ratify Finland and Sweden's application into NATO. The one is an interesting one because specifically, who was it? I've got it written down here. Josh Hawley. So Senator Josh Hawley was our one holdout. Now, if you're looking at 95-1 and you think that that's lopsided, it's almost always lopsided. I want to say Macedonia was something like 91-2 back in 2019, or North Macedonia, I should say. So here's Senator Josh Hawley. This is an interesting picture for me to have chosen. It was just a very clear picture of his. That specific picture, in case you're wondering, was taken January 6th, and it is directed towards protesters in Washington, D.C. Josh Hawley's, or Senator Hawley's, no against Finland and Sweden joining had its foundations in essentially we're not doing enough to combat China. One of the other things that he was talking about, he did an op-ed for the National Enquirer. It was well written. And I can understand what he was trying to say. A lot of his, even his Republican colleagues said, we're really just adding people to NATO right now. This doesn't take away from our ability to, posture against China. I don't really, I can understand both sides of that argument. But one of the other things that he noted was that Sweden and Finland don't do enough as it is from a military research and development perspective. There is an agreement with NATO. When you join NATO, you're supposed to spend at least 2% of your GDP on military spending. And then at least 50% of that is supposed to be on heavy equipment and research and development. I believe currently Sweden doesn't meet that, but has acknowledged the necessity to, but Finland does. I want to say that he posited that they don't. So first of all, they do. Now, speaking specifically to that 2%, the U.S. Senate also passed an amendment to the ratification that would acknowledge the requirement of that 2% GDP for any member of NATO. I want to say there are something like only 8 members out of all 30 NATO members that are currently actually spending what they're supposed to. And the reason we want them to do that is when I say we, I mean the collective. NATO wants any of its member states to be able to provide effective defense, if you will. Because again, an attack on one is an attack on all. Checking in on the chat here. Tommy, thanks very much for becoming a member. How are you? Now, there was one other amendment that didn't pass from Mr. Rand Paul. So Rand Paul's amendment essentially would have required Congress to declare war regardless of if somebody attacked a NATO state, which was voted down. All right, let's move on. So we're going to jump into the, we started early tonight, but I think it's just about time we jump into the footage. We've got some pretty good Ukraine footage to go through in section 1, and then we're going to be talking Azerbaijan and Armenia and the revival of the Nagorno-Karabakh War, which just happened as of yesterday. I'm willing to bet the majority of you probably didn't even know that that was a thing or was taking place. If you did, great. Continue. Please stay informed because there are wars and conflicts happening all over the globe right now. We're going to start things off tonight, though, with a bang. Quite literally. Now, we looked at a couple pieces of this kind of footage Tuesday, but I've got an additional for you. This is not a professional. This is real life. And you should not try this at home.
По лесу и нечаянно нашли лепесток.
Ох, нахуй!
Ебать!
One more again.
А что делать, если вы шли по лесу и нечаянно нашли лепесток?
Ох, нахуй!
Let's slow this down for a second, just in case you're not tracking what just happened. So, on Tuesday, we went through 2 pieces of footage showing, one, a tire being thrown at a PFM-1 landmine, which is a little butterfly mine. These are really nasty bastards that will essentially go off with just the pressure between your fingers. So he actually didn't even need to hit it that hard with that stick. He probably could have blown on it, and it would have gone off. But just like the tire and with the brick, what we've got now is this dude with a big stick deciding to just slap this thing, and it just explodes right in his face. Now, again, as I mentioned on Tuesday night's stream, the PFM-1 isn't really designed to have, primary fragmentation. So with a fragmentation explosion or a device that's designed for fragmentation, like a frag grenade, you've got primary fragmentation. It's designed to fragment, send those little fragments flying, and those little fragments are often called shrapnel, named after Henry Shrapnel. I believe it was Henry Shrapnel. He was a British officer who essentially designed the shrapnel shell, or one of the earliest forms of explosive munitions. There is none. What this thing is designed to do is maim, not necessarily kill. That's why he's able to be so close. Any primary fragmentation that would have come off of this would have really been negligible. Now, you still do have to worry about what's known as secondary fragmentation. And all of this is coming from like dusting off, a couple beers one night with one of my EOD buddies, just so you're aware. Really awesome dude, though. He and I were actually, during my second deployment, he and I ripped out with each other, and we didn't even know it. We met shortly after that. So he takes this stick, and our buddy Darwin decides to hit this little mine, which is a PFM-1. And all those little pieces that you see flying up, that's gravel, the sticks, bone. That's what would be called secondary fragmentation. Live check. Do you think this escalation will affect how the U.S. operates in the region? Live check. Which one specifically? So we're looking at Ukraine footage here, but we were talking about China a little bit ago. Would raindrops trigger those mines? Great question. In my research of the PFM-1, I might be overselling how sensitive they are, but possibly, right? I've never had hands on a PFM-1. I probably wouldn't touch it if I did see one, just because I have now been conditioned to believe that if you, look at it the wrong way, it's going to blow up. Did the dude die? No, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, but.
Look at him walking away right at the end.
Yeah, but.
He's good. Okay. Starting it off with a bang. Now, the two videos that we released earlier this week, so when we talked about them Tuesday, the reports said that those were Donetsk People's Republic, so proxy forces fighting, of course, for Russia. No idea. I have no idea who this is. I don't know if it's Ukrainian. I don't know if it's DPR, LPR, Russian. Don't know. Let's move on. But what I decided to do was focus a little bit more intently on Russian perspective footage for tonight. By the way, if you guys notice a little bit of an improvement in the camera, I have had some settings wrong over here for literally since we moved here. So I actually adjusted the FPS a little bit. The FPS on the camera was actually set correctly, but I use OBS to go live, and I had the OBS set the wrong way. I've only been streaming for 4 years. Eventually, we'll get this done the right way. Check this out. This is some pretty good footage coming out of the Donbas, to the east. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Avdiivka. I'm gonna paste that in the Discord for you guys. We already know that I'm the best at pronouncing things. I'm really good at it. Really, really good at it. Video's coming up for you now. What this is Russian troops defending their position from a Ukrainian assault. Again, just want to make sure we're showing you all sides here. Coming up.
Вася, что с Холиком?
Avdiivka. Got it.
Опа! Пошел ты! На тебе,
Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep.
Пацаны, закрывайте ушки, работает утеска. Уйди! Уйди, уйди!
Hold on. My favorite, before we go forward, my favorite part of this entire video is the PKM machine gunner not being able to get his weapon system into the fight. I just wanted to put that out there, just in case you were wondering. Okay.
Принял плюс. Белка ежику, продолжается стрелковая в нашу сторону.
Я пошел домой.
All right, let's bring it back up. So there you go. There's some Russian perspective footage. The very next one. Let's keep it on the Russian side. We're gonna watch Russian official release of a GoPro mounted to the top of a Donetsk People's Republic tank. Trying to show us Russian footage. Okay, that's fine. Got it. Coming up for you guys now. Little Legs, thanks for the 5. You know what that floppy antenna? Yeah, never mind. Prometheus, that's a great question. It'd be hard to deny that it wouldn't be. You know, I mean, that's one of the greatest deterrents across the globe right now to conflict is, but they're a nuclear power. So it's really, it'd be hard to say that it wouldn't have been a deterrent. Gangster tank, yeah, it's kind of boring. Take that, Horizon. The last time we showed Russian perspective, official Russian release stuff, mind you, right? It looked a lot the same, right? It's kind of a tank doing tank stuff. I don't know, tanking. Let's flip over to the other side of the coin here. We've got we're going to talk about this one for quite a bit. Let's watch the video first, and then let's have a chat together. You'll immediately understand what this is as soon as it starts. Recent celebrity status, though, that's for sure. All right. So you guys obviously understand at this point that was HIMARS, right? A lot of discussion about HIMARS over the last, month and a half. I'm losing track of the days at this point. But what you continue to see is calls for more and more and more HIMARS. Now, we got into a conversation on Tuesday night about the latest $550 million security package that went to Ukraine that just really consisted of ammunition. And somebody mentioned something akin to 3,000 rounds a day. And what that is in reference to is artillery. Now, 3,000, 200 and some odd millimeter rockets out of a HIMARS, that is absolutely not the pace that Ukraine is operating the HIMARS, largely because we haven't provided them nearly that much, that many rockets. One of the biggest inhibitors, and I don't recall what article it was. I read so many different articles throughout the day. Sometimes I just, pull one thought or one talking point per article. But one of the articles that I was reading was talking about the logistics infrastructure that comes along with HIMARS, specifically all the way back to production of GMLRS, right? So including the M31A1s that the HIMARS is using. The biggest problem to the provision in a more rapid pace of HIMARS is going to be ammunition expenditure. Those 4 HIMARS just sent a volley of what, 24 GMLRS? That's $2.4 million or so that we just watched fly into the air. If it's about $100,000 a round, right? The pace at which 100 HIMARS, we can use the most common statistic, the pace at which 100 HIMARS firing something like 3 missiles a day would go through the amount of munitions provided, it would be done by something like 4 months. So it feels like what the U.S. is doing is essentially trying to trickle in HIMARS, work with industry to ramp production for GMLRS. But I noted, and it kind of clicked, everybody talks about logistics, right? And understanding that there's the logistics backbone. Most people look at that logistics backbone as getting the stuff there, but you have to include production. You have to include current stock, whether it's presidential drawdown or, under the Ukraine Aid Act. I don't recall the acronym for that. Essentially, the biggest inhibitor to more HIMARS isn't the HIMARS, it's munitions. Now, the other note that I had for this is coming from a non-expert, right? I've worked with HIMARS before. No big deal. I thought the HIMARS was cool before everybody else thought it was cool. We used the HIMARS quite a bit. My second deployment, we actually used it as a show of force. From a show of force perspective, we will park that bad boy out on the tarmac at Bagram, and people would suddenly stop shooting at the airport. So, we also got the chance to see it fire a couple volleys. It's an absolutely amazing piece of technology to watch. But, again, those 4 HIMARS in a row like that is concerning to me. This is non-expert opinion. Having 4 out of the 16 currently available HIMARS just sitting in a line. I don't know exactly where they are in Ukraine. It's a good thing that we don't have that information. But having them so co-located together like that kind of almost defeats the purpose of its mobility for me. They could be 40 kilometers, or excuse me, up to 70 kilometers away from the Russian front line. I don't know. It just seems like that is excessive risk. You can't hit a barn door. Tell that to all of the, ammunition holding areas that have now blown up in Ukraine. That's weird that they couldn't hit that. Spread them out, yeah. JDAMs. I'm still a fan of ATACMs. I think that kind of capability, ATACMs, you put that into Ukraine's hands, monitored, right? Because again, these are very advanced capabilities of ours. And it's also pertinent to just see their use. You can't not talk about the literal testing ground for all of these advanced munitions against a near peer adversary. You can't not talk about that, right? We've been using them against, you know, from a counterinsurgency, counterterror perspective for years, for far too long. So now with essentially with essentially free reign to just watch its impact in the battle space, a lot of data to take out of that. We've got another one. Speaking of American equipment here, we've got a compilation of M777s being used by Ukraine. I didn't even paste the link there. There's copyrighted music on this one. We've been getting slapped for copyright. Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to talk to you guys about it. Bayraktar got copyrighted. Can't play it anymore. I've never been more disappointed. We got all the notices like midnight Wednesday. I had to go back to every stream and mute it all. Feels bad. But congrats to the dude that made Bayraktar. You started a movement, man. All right, let's jump in. A-10s are worthless. Drop it. Get out of here. Don't. No, they're not. No, it's literally a flying tank. Yeah, F in the chat for Bayraktar, please. Towards the end of this video, we're going to see some BM-21 grads as well. Those are grad strikes. And this is actually something really pertinent, right? So let's talk about this for a second, right? These are BM-21 grad strikes. Look at the dispersion here. That's just the design of, previous iteration multiple launch rocket systems that Ukraine was fielding until they received HIMARS. Look at the dispersion there. What is that? A couple 100 meters. Each individual rocket, what is the CEP of an M31A1, the circular error probable? It's something like 10 meters, 5 meters, maybe. We've covered it specifically before. But look at that capability increase, right? And you wonder why essentially the entirety of the Donbas has stalled. Because they can't store their stuff anywhere. Russia is just entirely unable to supply its troops at the moment, right? Now, when I say entirely, I'm being a little bit sensationalist, but you understand what I'm getting at is that immediate and rapid increase in capability. It has absolutely changed the landscape of the fight in Ukraine. And I said this when we gave them the first 4. The feedback and comments on that world. 4 is never gonna change the landscape. 4 would have changed it just as much. Well, nearly as much. Of course, you then multiply that a few times over, and you get 16 of these HIMARS devices. That's a massive capability increase. Anywhere is a target. Exactly. Now you give them, and again, I'm going back to ATACMS. You give them ATACMS, and then anywhere becomes a target, right? Especially anywhere that Russia is inside of Ukraine. Again, I'm still having a difficult time understanding why anyone would support Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I don't understand that. I can understand objectivity. Staying and being as objective as possible is always important, no matter who or what it is you're talking about. And again, I've said this before. I don't care if Russia had invaded Georgia again. It would be Russia, get your ass kicked by Georgia this time, even though they did invade Georgia, right? But it could, going back to the hat and the Ghost of Kiev thing, the Ghost of Zimbabwe. I don't care. Why are you there? Right? Now, after the fact, we're going to get a whole ton of, well, I guess you forgot how you invaded Iraq. I didn't invade Iraq. I didn't make that decision. Yeah, I never said that wasn't that was a good thing. But two wrongs don't make a right. What is this, like Grandma Day? I got to pull out grandma like proverbs. Stop it. Let's jump on. Let's move on. We're moving into footage section 2 here. What if the U.S. invaded Afghanistan? There it is! Yes! Oh, I knew it. Yes! God, I've been waiting for that. I just thought it was going to take longer. Thanks for jumping the gun. Oh, perfect. Jumping into our non-Ukrainian footage here, we're going to take a look at actually what is a few blocks from my previous home in Afghanistan. This is the Afghan government, and when I say the Afghan government, I mean the Taliban, reportedly using... These are professionals leading an entire nation at the moment, reportedly clearing out an Islamic State in the Khorasan province position or safe house of some kind. I will let you take a look at the tactics and procedures used for how the present Afghan government chose to do that. Now, as Josh calls this thing, the M79 yellow gas can. That's there's a TM or a field manual on how exactly to use this. Here's the deal. This actually takes place near Kartesaki in Kabul, Afghanistan. This is at the capital of Afghanistan. Now, the Islamic State in the Khorasan province previously was really held up in Nangarhar, which is in the far east of Afghanistan. It was a major point for us, drawing on personal experience. It was a major area of operations for the Joint Task Force that I was a part of. I draw two conclusions from this. One, that's about 2.5, 3 blocks from from Camp Eggers. I was in Camp Eggers in 2013 for my first deployment. That's about 2.5, 3 blocks maybe from Camp Eggers. So not a whole lot happened at Camp Eggers the first deployment. I spent my second deployment in Bagram in Jabad. On the flip side, the Islamic State in the Khorasan province has found their way all the way down now into Kabul. Not including the Al-Qaeda, which was standing on a balcony, I don't know, reading a book or something. I guess he went out there to read, if I'm not mistaken, a lot, and that's how they knew to drop a samurai sword missile on his face. So, just figured you guys might want to see the Afghan government handling that. Okay, we're gonna watch that one last because we might. I don't even know if I want to watch this one because this one is tough. Like, we've been having a little bit of fun tonight. Somebody even asked if it was meme night. It's not meme night. I just had kind of a long day. I prepared less talking points today, so more of today is like kind of from the hip, if you will. But this next video that I pulled, It's a hard watch, man. A police officer being left on her own. We're gonna watch it. All right, we're gonna watch it. The video is going to give you all the context that you need. I'm not going to give you any more context. It's extremely difficult to watch. Discretion is advised. Okay. And we're here. We're not here to throw marshmallows. Coming up for you guys here in just a moment. Here you go.
On July 27, 2022 at 11 o'clock p.m., Clayton County police officers responded to the 7800 block of Newberry Drive in Jonesboro, Georgia, in reference to a suicidal individual. Clayton County police received 3 separate suicide calls on this individual. The initial suicide call was placed at 9:40 p.m. Upon officers' arrival, the suicidal subject, who was later identified as Ayanna Pryor, had already left the scene. At 10:05 p.m., a second call was made by the individual's mother. Upon officers and EMS arriving, Pryor refused any assistance from the first responders. At 11 p.m., a third call was made that Ayanna Pryor was again threatening suicide. On the third call, 2 Clayton County officers were dispatched to the scene for further investigation. Officer D'Amica Lloyd arrived on the scene first and made contact with Ayanna Pryor. Body-worn camera shows while Officer Lloyd was on scene, she was trying to de-escalate and mediate the mental crisis that Pryor was experiencing.
Hey, where's she at? We got another phone call here.
I didn't call.
Where your daughter at?
Right here.
Ariana. Ayana. What's going on? You called us again? 24, you can go with traffic. We got a call saying you got a weapon. What's going on? Talk to me now.
It's traffic.
I can't help you. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
At no time after Officer Lloyd was shot and critically injured did any family member or bystander render aid. Officer Lloyd was left alone until additional officers arrived.
Okay, she survives. Again, that one's really tough to watch, right? And we have law enforcement officers on our team. I've got police officers that are friends of mine. I grew up. I've got family members that are police officers. Again, there's 2 sides to every coin, right? And under the majority of circumstances, police officers across America, across America, are doing everything that they can to enable their communities, to protect, to serve. In this instance, the first time I watched that, it was extremely tough to watch because she was left there. The family members did not help. You have a duty to help people, right? As a human being. We watched a video on Tuesday night of a bunch of community members putting a tourniquet on a police officer because he had been shot by a suspect. You have a duty to help people, right? Let's tie this all the way back to a comment that I made about Ukraine, right? Some people keep saying things like, it's not our war. It's not our fight. Russia is castrating people right now. Literally. Apparently that dude's dead. Good. Castrating people, right? Ukraine's not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm sure she wasn't perfect either, but she deserved a little bit of help. She was there trying to help people. That's why I didn't want to watch this, is it was going to drag us down, but it needs to be shown. Her story needs to be told. She was there trying to help, and nobody came to her aid. Let's move on. Why did she run after a gun? You close distance on a gun. You run from a knife. Let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit about the Azerbaijan, basically the revival of the Nagorno-Karabakh War. If you're not familiar with the Nagorno-Karabakh War, it dates all the way back to the fall of the Soviet Union and a dispute between Azerbaijanis or Azeris, I should say, excuse me, and Armenian peoples over an area, Nagorno-Karabakh. Essentially, back in 2020, there was major fighting that happened there, and ironically, Russia brokered a ceasefire. Weird. I got another talk point coming up after that. So there's been a relative ceasefire in place, but on August 3rd of this year, things just kicked off again. We got 3 videos we're going to watch here. Both sides, Azerbaijan and Armenia, claim that each other breached the ceasefire. Always going to be difficult to cut through the chaff on that one. But our very first video shows, all of these are from an Azerbaijani or Azeri perspective, excuse me. The very first one is Azerbaijan's assault on an Armenian, looks like maybe a forward operating base of some kind here. Now, as of September 1st, Russia was supposed to send peacekeeping troops into the area to essentially help quell hostilities. If you don't know the definition of an oxymoron, you're probably going to see that when you look it up in the dictionary. There's no sound to this one. Yawn. Let me know when shit actually happens. Nah, I guess you'll just have to keep checking in. The F actual with this contents section. What do you mean? I'm gonna let that play. So again, that was kind of revived hostilities between Azerbaijan and Armenia. We've got another one here, Azerbaijan drone taking out Armenian fortifications. All 3 of these were released on the 3rd, so yesterday. This is not a Ukraine stream. I understand we've been covering Ukraine now for quite some time. It has been one of the most pertinent, invasions, conflicts from a, impact perspective. But we cover everything, every conflict across every country. I've got India, Pakistan, Azerbaijan, Armenia. We've got stuff from Myanmar or Burma. It depends on. Anyway, we've got stuff from Africa. I've got a video releasing about the Islamic State in the West Africa province. I don't know, whenever YouTube decides to finish reviewing it. Here you go. It's definitely grown your channel. You'd be surprised, actually. You'd be surprised how little it's done to affect the channel. We were 2.26 million before Ukraine's invasion, or before Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and we're still at 2.26 million, right? And I think the reason for that is we do, of course, have a bias, in Ukraine's favor. And the reason that we have that is because, quite literally, just as I mentioned a few minutes ago, there's absolutely no reason for Russia to be in Ukraine. There's not, right? Every talking point I have gotten so far, logic throws it out the window. Russia is also goodness, I just can't get the video of that fake Crocodile Dundee dude cutting off that dude's balls. I can't get it out of my head. That lives rent-free right now. But one of the reasons that it really hasn't is we have not purposefully dove down either specific side. We have covered all angles to this. Some streams we've had a little bit more Ukraine content. Some streams we've had a little bit more Russian content. It's important that people see as much of this as possible. Now, the other piece to this is we were only live every night for the first week or so, right? Funker 530 has been around for 14 years now. Okay. We don't have a need to just go live and talk about only one thing. It was always very purposeful for us to have this live stream. We've had the edited show since November of last year. This stream was supposed to actually not start until about 6 to 7 months after we did it. But you'd be surprised with how little things have changed. And actually, to an extent, this stream has actually made things a little bit worse on our side. We love the fact that we have this stream, but what has happened, this dives down into algorithms and the way YouTube works, which I could talk about more over on the other stream after this. We're going to play Squad tonight. If you guys follow me over there, I'll explain how it actually did hurt us quite a bit doing this live stream on Ukraine stuff. But we got one more video to watch here. Dark Horse, thanks for the 20. How are you? Yeah, the more I think about it, it's very impactful. Very impactful. From a voice perspective, from how we feel about the channel, we're very proud of this stream. And we're very proud of you guys, of you being here with us. Because, again, we had these Ukraine designs up for, 2 days, and you guys bought 10,000 of them. And we were able to send that all to charity. It's amazing. Amazing. Sometimes the balls have got to go to send a message. Yeah, I'm going to just ban you now. Yeah, see you later. Nah, nobody's balls got to go, man. See you later. Bye. Let's check out this last one. What we're going to see here is Armenian troop truck transport being destroyed by a drone strike. All right. Now what I want to do is we haven't done a trending day in a little while, and I've got a little bit more time here. So what I want to do is I want to take a look at our top trending videos on the site, and I want to show you guys how to do that. All right, so I'm going to put myself way down here. I'm going to make this thing go full screen mode just like one of those. And now when you get to our main page here on desktop, if you're on your phone, it's going to look just a little bit different. But if you go up to the top, click on trending, you can see all of our trending videos from the last 7 days, along with 30 days, 1 year, and all time. Okay. This is a wild video to watch. So let's check out the last 7 days, and we're going to watch the top 5 here. So this one, it says not safe for work, but I kind of disagree with that. But this is a machine gunner taking a little bit of spall to the arm. It's a Ukrainian machine gunner engaging an unknown element of the Russians. Imagine banning people. You can get it too if you like. I don't care. Coming up for you now. Oh man, this is doing this to me again. For some reason, when I go full screen with before we go into the video, it doesn't let me take the video full screen. It's a limitation of I don't know, the player maybe. All right, here we go. Freedom of speech is dying on YouTube. YouTube doesn't have freedom of speech. Your freedom of speech protects you from prosecution, not from being an asshole in the chat. Mikey, thanks for the $3. Dark Horse, thank you for the 20. Jackson, thank you for the 15. Chris, thank you for the 5. Cholios, thank you for the $2. There's that Spall. So they go on and continue engaging for a bit. Towards the end here, we'll see kind of some of the aftermath of that. You can see his hand. Quite a bit of blood on his hand. He does survive, I believe. Here's that video if you'd like to go watch all of it. All right. Let's take a look at our next video here. So that was the number 5 most watched video over the last 7 days. This one spiked a lot of conversation, especially here. The quote-unquote mystery munition. Looks like an explosively formed penetrator coming out of like a drone, maybe. A lot of discussion on whether or not it's the bonus round, the bonus 155, the smart 155, maybe even the Phoenix Ghost. There's really no confirmation that we're able to find for it. Here you go. Your own channel spams the chat. So niche. I do that myself because sometimes the chat's moving a little bit too fast for people to catch the link. Just me here, brother. Dio, thank you for the 21.67, but 27.99 Canadian. Appreciate that. Now, if you didn't quite catch what we were looking at here, you'll see a right to left moving object with what appears to be an explosively formed penetrator getting shot out from the bottom of it. And it continues on its path with a slight variance. This is our number 4 most watched video, I think. I think I miscounted. A lot of views. A lot of discussion on the app and website, though. I mean, if you'd rather me spam the chat with 8008135 over and over again, I can do that. All right, let's bring it up. The next trending video that we have, yeah, that was number 4, is actually one we haven't covered here so far. This is a Ukrainian loiter munition targeting Russian troops in the open. We don't know which loitering munition this is. Here you go. Copyright music on the backside. Now, a loitering munition is oftentimes called a kamikaze drone. Mom. Get out of the chat. All right. Bring it back up. And let's jump into our number 2 most trending video was the tire. Oh, yeah. Was our tire. So we were talking about this earlier with our stick EOD guy who hit a anti-personnel landmine with a stick. That was fun. But what if you used a tire instead? And we reviewed this one with you on Tuesday. There you go. Just going to hook this tire. There goes the tire. Now what's interesting is although there's no designed fragmentation that comes off of PFM1s, which is what he just destroyed, something caught him in the side. All right. That was our number 2 most watched video. And the number 1 most watched video is an elderly store clerk disarming a would-be armed robber. Oh, my bad, guys. You're not even looking at the damn screen. Now, if you listen very carefully, immediately after the shot, he shot my arm off. He shot my arm off. Disarmed him. Now, it is unfortunate because our hero of the store here ends up having a heart attack. I haven't checked in since we originally rolled this footage on the website, but I do believe that he survived that heart attack and was just in critical condition. I love that freeze. Something that I noted, which was totally an amateur thing for me to note, was look at how he's holding this rifle. He's tucked in here. Great control over the front there. He survived his heart attack. Good to know. Good to know. All right. Well, that's it for us tonight. I told you I was a little bit spicy, but that's okay. That's okay. That's going to be it for us, though. I do appreciate you being here. We've got a brand new member of the team that just joined us, so you're going to find our edited content to be coming out a little bit more and more and more. That edited Funker News Network playlist that I've talked about quite a bit. We've got over 45 individual breakdowns of clips, and this actually goes further into context, either in the situation, the conflict, the weapon system that's used, including trebuchets, counterweight trebuchets, cannonballs, cannons. You know, we've got one that's about to come out for the Islamic State in the West Africa province here in probably the next 24 hours or so. So we're really excited that he's joined the team, and I can't tell you how awesome his work is. I just say dumb words to a screen reading off of a teleprompter. I'm out of here. I'm going to go hang out with some friends, including you, if you'd like to play. You're welcome to join me on Karma Cut's Dynamic Direction, playing some squad. We'll see you guys either over there or next Tuesday. Stay informed. I can't play Bayraktar, guys. I'm sorry. It's going to start, but I'm going to have to stop it.